What do we have here? We have a battle of the fabulous flippers. In this corner, we have the Herman Sting. And in the other corner, the Grimsmo Rask. Which one will win tonight in this battle of the coolest, super expensive flippity-doo knife? My money is on, well, I can't tell you, that'd be kind of cheating. So this is a Grimsmo. Look at that texture on that guy. That milling is just beautiful. This guy is a frame lock, unlike the Herman knife. We'll see. Got a sweet little Grimsmo helmet, little logo right there on the clip, which has matching milling, just like the body has. Flipper tab is super soft, edged. I mean, but fortunately, it's also perfectly, the geometry is perfect, so you don't slip off, even though it could be slippery if it wasn't perfectly aligned with how your finger just normally sits, or at least my finger. What is the blade steel on these guys? You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I will put it right up here for the Grimsmo. I'm sure it is something fancy. It is not 420C, and it is not D2. That we can be fairly sure of. This is the cool thing about the Grimsmo. Look at what this thing does when you try to close it. Well, okay, I'm trying not to close it all the way, but it sucks the blade in as though there were magnets in it. It's very weird and satisfying all at once. I don't know how it works, but like the blade can be straight up and down, and it will like pull itself in. Like it's hard to explain, but it's just kind of magic. It's like there's an electric motor pulling the blade in as it's trying to close. Instead of it just gravity doing it, it's like there's extra things happening. I don't know. It's weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's how it feels. The smoothness of it is, I don't know. It's like it's on a pillow of air. It's like the blade, when the blade is moving, you don't really feel it in the handle, other than you kind of feel the shift in the weight, but you don't really feel any kind of friction. It's amazing. It's an amazing knife. All right, what about the Sting? Sting is a hair heavier. Why? Well, I think partly because it's a little thicker in the handle. Let's look and see. Yeah, we got a little bit thicker handle. Well, let's put it even to even here. There we go. So yeah, just a little bit thicker titanium. This one is also hollowed out with internal milling. Makes it very light. It feels like a 3-ounce knife. Oh, we got a scale here. Let's find out. That's part of the battle, you know. You gotta weigh these guys to see who has the weight advantage. If this works. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna take a good guess at it. Oh, look at that guy. I think it's turning on. Okay, so that's in ounces. Let's see what we got. 3.1. I was damn close. So 3.1 on the Rask. How much on the Sting? 3.7. 3.65. Awesome. So it's a little over, what did I say this one was? 3.1. So about a ½ ounce heavier. So if weight is an issue for you, you like them super light, the Rask is going to be slightly ahead on your scorecard at this point. Ding, ding, now, ding. What does the Sting have going for it? I mean, other than just being super awesome looking and having that milling pattern that I might like slightly better than the Rask. Just having those lines come up and go out like that and then out the other way, just a weird perspective thing that's just pretty awesome. The way he does this, these bolts, these are the ends of the bolts coming through from this side. So instead of having like a bolt coming in from each side, meeting in the middle, we got these little ends here poking out that are rounded. It's just so cool. Backspacer. A lot of the backspacers on these are different, kind of customed to the knife. Like this one has a backspacer with that same finish as the pivot. Very cool. Has that little pointy bit right there. So if the blade was off center, you could see it by lining up that thing and seeing that it wasn't centered. But of course, it is deadly centered, like perfectly, like NASA centered. Oh, the sound. That's right. So the Herman knife has a sound that is pretty special. Hear that? Yeah, that's not sound effects, man. And then even on the close, very cool. Just an awesome sound. I think part of that is, so this one is a liner lock. I think it's a titanium liner lock, but I'd have to look into it. I'll put it up here if it's steel. I don't remember if it's steel or titanium. I think the inside part is titanium, though, if I remember right. And then the outside scales or the frame is titanium too. And you can see this one's milled out too, just not quite as extensively as the Rask. So still got a little bit more weight to it. That backspacer being kind of beefy is probably part of it. Let's see. No backspacer on the Rask at all, so it's an open cockpit there. That's what she said. The Rask is a hair longer. Just a tiny bit. Right? So if you want a little bit more knife at less weight, the Rask is pulling ahead. If you like an awesome sound and really, really good action, this one's a little snappier. Okay, this one pops out with a little more authority. This guy has what you would call a pretty light detent. I don't know, let me see. No, not really. They both have a pretty similar detent, so I'm not going to say one's a lighter detent than the other. Actually, the Sting might be a hair lighter. Yep, I was wrong. The Sting has a pokey flipper tab, so it made me think it was a heavier detent than it was. I think if it had the same shape detent, it would feel a lot lighter. That sound is just awesome. So, for smoothest action, the Rask for sure. For coolest sounding action, the Sting for sure.
Ding, ding.
For coolest milling, the Sting. Most comfortable flipper, the Rask. Longest blade, the Rask. Boy, who's got the best ergos? Oh, Sting. That pocket clip just doesn't poke too much. Boy, it really just kind of melts in your hand. This one is really good too, but it feels a little flat, a little thin, a tiny bit flat. Now, of course, your hand might feel different. But for me, the Sting by a hair on the ergos. Let's see. Who's got a prettier blade? Both pretty nice. I'm going to call this one, oh, what is that, a satin? And this one's more of a stone washed. I think I like the Herman a little better on that. It's a very pretty satin. M390 says right there. So we got M390. Let's think of blade steel here since I don't know the Rask yet. M390 versus this steel. And then you can decide which you like better. Do you like the liner lock better, or do you like the frame lock better? Personally, and for these two, not for every night, but for these two, I kind of like the liner lock because it doesn't affect the flip when you are pressing on the handle. So I can press as hard as I want and it still feels the same. This guy, as you flip it, if I have my fingers off of the lock bar, it's flipping out pretty easily. Fingers on the lock bar, it's substantially harder to flip out. That's kind of a little annoying. Wow, I don't know. This is a crazy battle. It's just a back and forth melee. Who's ahead? I don't know. I haven't been keeping score. We'll put the score over here, right over here somewhere. What is the score? I think it's pretty close though. Pocket clip look. This one looks a hair too long to me. It's a little oddly long. This guy looks a tad better. So we got the Grimsmo for pocket clip size. How about who's got the cooler pivot? This one has a sweet Grimsmo helmet on it. This one has awesome texturing, but it has a bolt hole on the show side. And for that reason, pivot coolness goes to the Grimsmo. I'm sorry, to the Grimsmo. What else? What else? What else can you judge these things by? I mean, I could try to cut some stuff with them, but nah, that's boring. Let's see. This one has a choke-up position. It's an actual full-size choke-up position before you get to that little choil there, the good sharpening choil. It's really nice. You can actually use it. This guy, kind of a long flipper, maybe a bit too long, and then a very good sharpening choil that actually could be a little better. So we're going to give that choil area to the Grimsmo. I feel like the Grimsmo is pulling ahead here, at least in the last few rounds. Which one is cooler? I don't know. Which one's the cooler knife? Which one's the better knife? I would certainly take either one. They're a little out of my price range. They are loaners from the HE Knife Museum. So, got to thank that sponsor. Wow, that Herman sounds so good. I just don't know. Which one? Which one? Well, I don't know. So, anyway, have a nice day. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. We got to decide. Man, if the Grimsmo sounded like the Herman, it wouldn't even be a contest. That action is just so cool. It's really hard to decide. Do I want to have the really coolest sounding knife that also is really good action? Or do I want to have the probably one of the best knife actions like there is ever, with an okay sound? And then all the other things are actually pretty close. Drum roll. Let's make a decision. It is the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hogs, let him go. My mother told me to pick the very best one, and you are it. Okay, that's it. The Grimsmo is the winner in the battle of the sweet, sweet clipper knives. There you go. That's it. So grab you a Grimsmo. Have a nice day.